anything. You get through
Okay,
something and say,
lovely.
"Oh, I want to redo that one." Well, then just redo it with me. You know?
Did you hang up the phone?
What's that?
Did you already
We,
hang up your phone?
actually, what I did is we're talking on the phone and I put us on mute, but
Ah,
we
cool.
can
That
switch it
was,
if we want to go the other way. Either way.
nah, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what I wanted to do today, and you tell me if this works for you, is just kind of this session is kind of almost like the intake call I would do with somebody I didn't know.
Yes. Yep.
And kind of do the overview and kind of find out on that introductory piece that I sent you where you're at on each of those different sections, so I know how deep we need to go or what's new, a new concept to you or whatever. Is that okay for today?
Yeah, that's perfect. That would be excellent for me today.
Oh, excellent. And just as a tip, what I like to do at the beginning of each of our sessions is just kind of a check-in with where you're at, physically, emotionally, spiritually, and then any concerns that you've got. Because one of the things I'll be doing is praying for you regularly. And then I have people who pray for my clients, and they don't know you, they don't know any real specifics about you, but I love that. It started with my mom started praying regularly for my clients, and I thought, wouldn't it be cool, kind of like what you do with Be Well, God Bless, have a prayer team of people that cover you. So anything that you share with me as far as a prayer request, let me know if it's confidential and you just want me to know. And then anything else will go to my prayer people. Awesome. Sound good?
That sounds great.
Yeah, I really love that. I love sharing that with clients. So, where are you today?
Well, lots of things actually have happened even since the last time we talked. So, I talked to you. I don't even remember when we talked or got together, but I know from that time, lots of stuff. I've talked to a couple other people that I wanted to get more info on that have people outsourced to do a lot of their work. Like they're the front person, they're the graphic designer, but yet they're really the project manager that have other people doing it under their brand and their name. So I talked to them just to get more insight on that and explained where I was going with the Tech Angels and changes in Be Well, God Bless membership and the membership levels. And each of them kind of came back with, and I'm also in a mastermind group that I've started. I think we've had 2 classes so far. And so a lot of that very beginning is your prices and your packages and what do you do and what do you offer. And consistently I'm confused with what you offer. Like there's too many options and levels, and if you're a member, then what do you get with a tech? And if you're, just kind of that, deer in the head, like I have it in my head what I'm doing, but nobody else can understand what's in my head, and my paper doesn't easily show that. So I'm getting this kind of constantly. And then I've been...
Might help you with narrowing that down and clarifying it?
Well, from that, that was kind of the underlying piece, and there's already been a lot of transformation and shifting, and I had a great energy session, Healing Touch, with one of our members, and I say in that I just got this download of everything about my business.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Who does Healing Touch?
Patricia Stevens. She lives in Lime Springs, but mostly does remote healing for people.
Wow,
and
I'd like to connect with her.
Yeah, really.
My Healing Touch person's in Minnesota.
Yeah, really deep. She can do some amazing healing things. And so I was kind of going through that. Things are confusing. And what was the next? Oh, and then I was talking to a couple different people just who are members now, and the conversation that they had with me was like this deep level of sharing things with me as to where they were at, and they're like, I'm so thankful that I can share this with you because I don't know who else I can share it, things that other people may think are a bit out there, or the spiritual part and God, or they're seeing things or talking in tongues. One person had this happen for the first time in her life, and she was so excited, but she's like, I can't share this with anybody because no one's going to get it, And so then I had my healing session, and came to me to put Be Well God Bless in hibernation right now and stop the memberships and stop the service. Focus on the tech angels, or your tech angels, and a lot of the services that we can provide the members need. That's the last 3 or 4 members that have came in. What they needed was the technology help. It wasn't the online directory. It was get the website, get the payment processing, help share what I do, like create my content and get it out for me and post it on my social media.
Do you have techangels.com as a domain?
Yourtechangels.com.
Perfect.
Yep.
Good.
Mm-hmm. So I have that, and then the people on the directory now, I think my first original vision was having this space where people could talk about health and wellness and living healthy, and about God, and including faith in what it is that you're doing. And as I was telling that to people, and it included these services that we provide for them, then many people said, will you help me and let me be in your directory and do these things? But they weren't anything about health and God. They were about technology and support on their business. So I think just why I want to hibernate this right now is so I don't have to go and pick and choose and say, yes, you're part of my vision and you're not part of my vision, and just say, this is going to stop right now, and get the people that really have that in their heart, be advisory committee to really decide what Be Well God Bless 2.0 kicks off as. And I see it being a closed community where you can have a profile, you can share what you do, but it's really to just share from your heart. Hey, God spoke to me. This is what I heard. Hey, this is where I'm struggling with, and you don't have to have a business. You can have a business. It doesn't matter. It is the fact that you can talk about your body, your mind, and your spirit, and not do it in a way that you're feeling judged by church people that are going to say that you're sinning. So
people need that kind of community. I just got off a call with someone who's just feeling lonely, because she goes to church with her husband occasionally, but he's in a really conservative place and very head-centered, and she's just hungering. She's in spiritual direction training right now, so once a quarter she does get with a group of people that are her tribe. But what you're describing is, I hear over and over again.
Yeah.
They're just hungry for this kind of community.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Where they see themselves and share their hearts and not feel rejection.
Right. Yeah. And
that's fabulous.
So get, out of Facebook, because that's confusing and overwhelming for some. And if you hit the wrong button, everybody sees it, and that's not what we want. So create another app that's in a different location and just separate, but online, with that technology. So that is still very much part of it, but I don't see how I can do them at the same time without getting confused with what's happening. So just,
sure, that's
going to be growing on the non-public side. The public's not going to know this is growing, but Be Well God Bless will certainly be developing and putting the right things in place. And then, I need income right now really bad. And so focus on the technology and helping people with that, because there's also many, many people where if I could just say, hey, you need to get this stuff on, you need this done for your business, let me help you. And not confuse what type of membership do you have and how much can I give you and where do you pay, and make it just simple.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
I think this is fabulous. And I'm glad that you got that clarity just to kind of Be Well, God Bless, it was the directory side of things, just kind of put it on hiatus for a bit and really focus your attention on the community building. I think that's brilliant. And the Tech Angels part.
Yeah.
And get some income, producing activities going. It's smart. But if you need help with that side of stuff, don't hesitate, because we can go there and talk about it and bounce ideas around if you want to.
Okay.
I'm cool with that.
Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. How are you doing physically?
Physically, pretty good. I know when I was in my healing session, my back, I think I carry a lot on my shoulders, but also just kind of in the center of my back, knots and things like that, which at one point Pat was explaining that my angel wings are like opening up. I'm like,
wow,
that's what she was saying.
Kind of cool.
I know. So then I'm like, I don't mind if my back is hurting. It's like I'm expanding and like helping out with more people. So that was it was about a week where that was really knotted up, and now it's not anymore. So
that's interesting.
Yeah.
I love that idea of angel wings opening up. I've never thought of it that way. Yeah, I carry tension and stress there too. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I meet your path.
Yeah, and then my big.
Do you have any chronic physical stuff? We didn't ever go there.
My back did hurt for a long time, but actually after I started working with Pat, I was going to the chiropractor, I was doing physical therapy stuff, all this, which was not helping at all. And then I started working with Pat, and my back pain is gone.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, and my big toe, this summer, I dropped a crowbar on it and broke it.
Remember.
Yeah, so that is tingling, and has had different stages, but right now is doing a lot of tingling in my toe. The nerves are kind of out there, but again, she had a different way of like presenting it, where it's like, oh, this is wonderful. So, for body wise, there is, let's see, in my abdomen area, after having lots of babies, for running wellness centers, I was not one that would go exercise or do what I was telling other people is important to do in life, like eat right and sleep and exercise. So I think when I will do some exercise, there feels as though something's not right in my gut. And I don't know if it's just because I have no exercise there, and after having kids, it's just very loose, or if there's actually something there. Like I've had different people, kind of doctors, look at it and nothing has ever come out wrong, but it feels as though there's something not right in that area.
I wonder, did you have hard pregnancies? You're so small.
No, I had big kids. Well, my middle one was almost 10 pounds.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That had to be hard on your body.
Maybe.
I'm just wondering if you created like some adhesions or scar tissue in there, because sometimes it gets sticky. And when I hear women who talk about having multiple pregnancies and tensions in their gut, sometimes it's adhesions.
Okay.
Talk to Pat about that.
Okay.
Because Healing Touch, I know, can help with that. Sometimes massage helps with it if you know a good massage person.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel good when they're doing it, if you have scar tissue and they're moving it around, but it's kind of necessary to break up some of those fibers.
Mm-hmm.
If that's what it is. I don't know. I can't diagnose you, but
yeah,
it's something to think about.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
how many kids?
3 kids.
3. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And how are things going relationally? Marriage and kids and friends?
I feel very, very blessed in that area. I think financially we've been really struggling. more than we even knew probably the last 3 years, but this last year we've been very aware of it, really focused on it. And so even though it's brought up a lot of tension and stress for us, I think it's brought us closer together, and we're communicating more, and we're trusting God more. And so I know it's happening for a reason. I think good things are coming out of it, but it's still, hard going through.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's stressful.
Yeah.
We've had our share of that this last year. It's
Mm-hmm.
hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. The communication gets strained sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How are your kids handling it?
Good. My oldest is in high school, so he's had to get a job and pay for his own gas and any things that he wants. My middle one is in junior high, and my youngest is in first grade.
Remember that you got them in 3 different schools.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So, I think it's, again, and Pat will tell me my mind, I can think through things really well, but I need to let my body feel what it's supposed to, because I'll just forget about the feelings, and I know what's happening. I just have that knowing of what it is. So I just have this knowing this is a great time for the kids to feel or know that money just doesn't grow on trees, and that they can have whatever they want, because if they're going to be good adults, they're going to have to, work and find some investments and do things, and just don't get loans and credit cards and live that way.
Yeah.
So I think it's good for us all, but again, they're not upset or mad or grumpy or being mean to us. They just know that we can't do most anything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, we can definitely pray.
Yeah.
You get some traction on this financial end. And I think Tech Angels has lots of potential. There's always a need for those kinds of services. I know in the coaching world, everybody's always asking, do you know a good VA? And you're the kind of person I would have no trouble recommending to my fellow coaches. I think that you're going to have work. So once you get real clear on what your offerings are, and have a way of sharing it with folks and know what your pricing are, I can actually, there's a couple of forums that I can mention your name and see if we can get referrals that way. Val probably knows people too that I don't know. We our circles intersect for sure, but I'm sure that she has contacts that could use your services too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to leverage PDP.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. I think so too. I think, I was just at a store the other day, and I know the people, and, they didn't, they have a restaurant, but they don't have any way to take credit cards, and people were having to walk to the gas station to get some cash to come back and pay. And it's I could easily tell them, hey, if you need help with this, I can help. If not, that's totally fine. But I would have felt more uncomfortable trying to say, you should be in my Be Well God Bless community and directory, and here's what that is, and explain. And, so I feel like it will be a lot easier just saying, hey, if you need help, I'm here for you. If you don't, that's fine.
Angels might be a way of helping you filter who needs to be part of Be Well God Bless.
Absolutely.
Rather than cart and horse and cart.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And work that community. That would be good.
Yeah, because I think the members, it will almost be an invitation only to the Be Well God Bless community from other members that are saying, hey, this is a person that would fit here good.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your spiritual life. How are things going there?
Well, I think my connection and relationship with God is great. I love listening and hearing and getting wisdom. I love praying. My husband asked me this weekend, though he's still on a volunteer team every 4 weeks. And so he's like, well, you want to come to church? I'm like, No, I really don't. The last time I went, the message was about how to um, how to talk to people who are not doing the right thing or something like that. And I feel like that is exactly what happened to me. There was people in the church that came and talked to me because they thought I was doing the wrong thing. And that was the last message I went to, and I kind of at that point decided I don't want to go back to church here again. It just that was my message to say not where you need to be. Um, and Samantha,
How does he feel about that?
I think he respects that.
Oh, good.
I think I'm much stronger in my faith, and he's learning and growing in it. So I think he would not try to tell me what to do in my faith, just because he is not a far along in that path. I'm very glad that he's going. I'm very glad the kids are going. Parker is, our middle one is volunteering too. So our youngest loves going. She'll like have her on video one day crying because we weren't going to go to church and she really wanted to go to church. Our oldest high school kid, he doesn't want to go, and I don't push him or force him. I say I would like him to somehow connect with God during that time, you know, read the Bible, watch a video, pray, whatever, doesn't matter to me, but try to do something. And my youngest daughter, who I think is very an old, wise soul, like she is, many people have said this and just went to her conferences, and her teacher is like, I've never seen a girl like this before. She's just so,
Wow.
she's like, she likes being with the kids and interacting with them, but she would just as soon sit down with me and have a, you know, adult conversation with her teacher. And
Wow.
she's, I think just there's special reasons that she's here. And very oddly, she didn't want to go to church on Sunday and wanted to just stay home with me. And I said, well, we'll have Sunday, or we'll have church at home. So we did lots of different things, reading from the Bible, at, you know, the kids version Bible to my adult Bible, and how does that change. And I can't remember. We did a whole list of things. All morning we were doing things, or we were cooking, but we were praying over the food and thanking God for it, and just including God in everything we were doing that morning. So, yeah.
Neat. I love that.
Yeah, so.
I love that she connected with you that way.
Yeah.
It's special to have those one-on-one times with your kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, where we weren't rushed to go anywhere. We watched a video that was about God, and so, you know, we were. I just don't think we need to be at church to do it. There's also, so that you know, I've only told a couple people about this, but they're also kind of, I think, in this path of my transition, there was somebody told me about this job that is at the Holy Wisdom Monastery in Wisconsin. And it's a grant. They got $1 million grant, and they're looking for 2 co-directors. And they have 2 main purposes of this grant. One is an immersion weekend twice a year for pastors of any denomination, any religion can come. Even though it's a Catholic monastery, they're very open to all religions to be part of it. And in the language and wording, you know, very spiritual versus religious, and, you know, they have different counselors that have all different backgrounds and stuff. And so the other part they want to do is create a monastery without walls. So an online way for pastors to connect with each other and have blogs and classes and all these different things that I think just me going through the process of applying for that job helped me realize I can do the Tech Angels, and I'm going to be good at that. And whether I get the job or not, there's a lot of variable things. and I don't honestly think I have a great chance at it, but just the process of going through it. It would be amazing money. It's part-time. You can work from home. So a lot
That's
of
amazing. That's a great opportunity.
Yeah.
We'll pray on that one too.
Definitely. And if that happens, then I would love for my husband to be able to be home and do more of the Tech Angel stuff, because I really think that what he's learned over this past year, because he quit his job that had benefits and good pay and started working for one of my members, that doesn't have good pay and is over an hour away and has no benefits, but he's learned just a tremendous amount of things. And I just feel as though that is where his learning ground is at for what he's going to do. And I don't know what he's going to do, but I think this is, the step that he needed to take to get to the next step. And I think and feel and would love for it to be that our business of Tech Angels and Be Well God Bless, that he's more active and doing the office stuff of that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Keep him at home. Keep him employed.
Yeah.
That would be great. It'd be great if you had enough coming in that both of you had a salary.
Yeah.
That's a great goal.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
First, we got to get your salary.
Yeah, exactly. Take some pressure off.
Wow. Well, can we start with some prayer? Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. I'm going to open today. Father God, thank you for just this growing connection that Angie and I have. And thank you for being here with us, bringing us together, bringing this alignment that we have, this where we meet and it's automatically so good that we understand one another and appreciate each other's thoughts. And I know that's from you. Thank you that she's volunteered to go through this Interior Freedom Program, Lord, and give me direction today as I listen to her and give me insight into what her needs are as we move forward, as we go through the different phases of the program now, that we have real clarity on what this time needs to be and how you want her to grow during this time. Thank you for what you're already doing in her life and where you've brought her thus far. Thank you for her family. It's such a blessing to her. And Lord, I ask that you would continue to bless them, and especially with material abundance, that you would bring in the resources that they need, the cash and the other things that they need, to the point where they can bring her husband home and that they can both work on this business together. That would just be an amazing opportunity for them. So, Lord, we just ask for your hand of blessing on Tech Angels, wisdom for Angie as she grows that business, and for the perfect clients to show up and people that she can serve who will bless her financially. We ask all of these things in your son's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Well, I'm going to have to open up this doc. Oh, I think I did print it. Hang on.
Yes.
My piles of paper here. I'm working at my kitchen table because my office is now a storage room. When I hurt my foot, I wasn't able to go downstairs for about 3.5 years. And this last spring we installed one of those stair lifts. So now I can get down there. But all the crafty stuff I do and mending and art stuff, all of that got piled in my office. So I've got my books and my desk and then all of this stuff. It's insane in there. So I don't work in there anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to move this a minute.
Yeah.
Because I think, I know where I put it. I actually filed it. That's scary.
I have my file of to be filed.
Yes, here it is. Okay. Yeah, I'm taking 2 classes myself right now and leading 2.
Yeah.
So all of my notes and all my homework, everything's on this kitchen table. And then the other end, it's a big long table, and the other end is all of Duke's work. And it's all going to have to get moved for Thanksgiving.
Because you got people coming to your house?
Yeah, my family comes here,
Oh,
which I'm really thankful for. It's
yeah.
a fun time.
Yep.
But, yeah.
It also
I
means
used
there's
to
a lot
have
to
ladies-
prepare.
I used to have ladies that came in and cleaned for us once a month or so, sometimes more often than that when we had people over. But we decided this year to really kind of downsize some things. We turned off a lot of the cable that we weren't even watching. What else? The cleaners went, a couple other things.
Yeah.
And I don't miss the cleaners. I can kind of keep the base. It's 2 people and a dog, right?
Uh-huh.
How dirty can we get? Well, obviously, we got real dirty. Because this whole week, today's the only day I'm working this week. Yesterday, I started cleaning, and tomorrow I will take it up again. And this place is filthy. It's so gross. My house is usually not dirty. It's usually just cluttered. But right now, we're cluttered and dirty. It's just bad. But I'm thankful for Thanksgiving because by the end of the week, I'll have a clean house. I think it's Saturday this year because
oh, that's
I have
good.
a niece who's really technically like my granddaughter. It's a long, weird, convoluted story. I have a foster daughter who ended up moving in with my folks when I got divorced, and she started calling them mom and dad and calling me her sister.
Yeah.
So kids call me Aunt Lisa, so they're kind of my nieces and kind of my grandkids. It's really weird. Anyway, the oldest got married suddenly. Kind of surprised us all. And she and her husband are both in the Army, and they couldn't get back here till Saturday, but they're going to be here. They're in
Oh,
Colorado.
that's good.
So I'm really excited. Ashley and I are really close. She's like the child of my heart.
Yeah.
The most deeply spiritual one of the 3. And yeah, I'm just really excited. And I like her husband. I did get to meet him. When were they here? It was sometime during the summer. And I was scared because I was afraid I wasn't going to like him, and that would have been horrible.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a good guy. He really is. And he loves the Lord. He has a Catholic upbringing, but he seems to be much more diverse in his beliefs than just what he was raised with. And he's going to be a good guy for her. I'm so surprised because she scared me to death. They eloped.
Yeah.
They eloped, and we hadn't even met him yet.
Yeah.
So we were all pretty angry. Anyway, so I'm excited about this week. It's going to be good. I haven't had a house full in a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you guys
It'll
doing
be
for
fun.
Thanksgiving?
We are going to my brother's on Thanksgiving Day, and he lives in DeWitt, so we're going down that morning. I think driving 3 or 4 hours, having lunch, and then driving home 3 or 4 hours.
Wow, that's a long day.
Yeah. Yeah, but we were going to actually take the bus that we have because there's 4 families right from Osage here that are all going. And I'm like, well, that will be perfect. We can party all the way there and back. But, you know, everybody's leaving on a different day and coming back on a different day. And, you know, there's not 2 people that are going at the same time. So we'll just do what we can.
Lots of cars.
Yeah, and then Friday we're going to the Festival of Trees in Rochester, where I used to work at.
Beautiful.
Yeah, bringing one of the guys from our church that doesn't have a family, or doesn't claim his family, I should say, that has claimed us as his family. So we're bringing him to go with us, and I'm thinking this weekend we're doing something then with Derek's family. Maybe? I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure we'll end up there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, while I'm thinking about it, what's your home address?
1030 Main Street, Osage, Iowa, 50461.
Okay. And what's your date of birth?
12/3/74.
Ooh, it's coming up.
That's coming up. Parker's was yesterday. 2 weeks from that is mine to the day. 2 weeks from that is Merrick's to the day. And then a week after that is Christmas. So we got boom, 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 boom.
Full of events in December.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Do you feel ripped off that you get Christmas and birthday all at the same time?
Well, my mom and dad were a day apart, And my two sisters were a week apart, and my two brothers were like 4 days apart. And so I said, well, I get to share my birthday with God or Jesus. So
That's good. That's cool.
yeah.
Yeah, my in-laws, Duke's parents, were born on the same day, but a couple of years apart.
Yeah.
And it's in December. So, yeah, my mother-in-law says, yeah, we always kind of get ripped off with Christmas.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I probably thought that.
My youngest grandson was born on the 22nd. No, 21st, same day as Daphne. My dog and my grandson have the same birthday. But, yeah, Kimmy and I decided he's going to have kind of a birthday party like in July or something.
Yeah.
So, but he's older. Right now he doesn't care, but...
Yeah, we thought we were going to do that too. That when we'll have half birthdays in the summer, and then they can, kind of skip over their birthday and just have Christmas. And it never happened.
It's working. Oh, okay, maybe you weren't there.
I don't know. They're good.
Well, let's take a look at the intro to the program. And what I wanted to do is, there's so much. I don't know why I decided that I had to go into all of these different things. But I don't know. As I talked to the Lord about it, I just feel like in order to truly find interior freedom, I think that you kind of have to work on all of you. Mm-hmm. And some things are more important than others. And certainly during different seasons of our lives, things get more focused than others. But I thought with my clients, I at least need to kind of look at where they're at in all these different areas of their lives and get a sense of, what have they worked on, what has maybe been missed or glossed over, where do they have blind spots, and dive into those areas if needed, if that's what they want to do. Because I think that if we don't deal with things like sabbatical lifestyle, how we use our time, how we utilize the resources God has given us of physical strength, those kinds of things. And I'm not a health coach, and I'm not going to, beat you up if you eat bad or stay up all night, because I do both those things. But when you're focusing on your health, to have a sense of what works and what doesn't work for you. I know if I eat too much sugar, my foot flares up. Mm-hmm. I know if I don't get enough sleep at night, and I stay up all night, but I sleep late in the morning. But I get moody and depressive if I'm sleep deprived. And I learned that pain is worse with lack of sleep, because that's when your brain creates pain-reducing hormones. Mm-hmm. And so sleep is so incredibly important. And so sabbatical lifestyle kind of grew out of my own health journey. And so it's something I want to touch on with people. I wrote a book called Your Belief Quotient, and it came out of some work I was doing with clients a few years ago, just about belief systems and what works for people and what faulty beliefs are they holding and how does it sabotage them. And so we'll probably touch on that a little bit. I've always loved personality work, personality systems like Myers-Briggs and stuff. And now I've just fallen in love with the Enneagram. And so I want to play with that with you a little bit. Yeah. The Enneagram, I've become almost an expert on several different personality tools. I'm choosing to become an expert on Enneagram. It's the only system that it incorporates automatically ways to grow past your own challenges, that the challenges that your personality type leans towards. It's based on that. It's based on the 7 deadly sins plus 2, which is kind of weird, but but it's I don't know. We can talk more about it when we get there. But yeah, the Enneagram is something I really would love to share with you and talk about. Mindfulness is a tool that I've played with a lot in the last 4 years. Before that, I just kind of dabbled with it. And mindfulness has taught me so much, one, about pain management, stress management, but I didn't realize just gave me more freedom emotionally. And I can explain more about that later, but it really teaches you how to be more objective about your own emotions, and it teaches you how to hold negative experiences and emotions and positive ones at the same time. You can, well, good example, my foot. I can be in incredible pain and still find joy in the same moment. And it isn't just, pretending that I'm grateful or whatever. I really can be enjoying something and still having bad pain. A lot of people who have something like CRPS can't go anywhere, can't go to concerts, can't enjoy their life, don't enjoy their grandkids. And I wanted to find a way to hold suffering and pain at the same time as joy. And it's possible. And mindfulness did that for me. And so that's a tool I wanted to talk about. You told me you've done the passion test. I want to do it again with you because you've had such incredible changes in your business, and especially right now with this transition.
Right.
I think the passion test, especially the passion test for business, and I don't know if you've ever done that one, but it's like the passion test on steroids. It really gives you clarity, and at least for me, it gave me clarity about what's next. It helped me figure out strategically what I wanted to do next in my business. So that will be a great tool, I think, for you. There's a tool I'll share with you called the Examine. And the real theme of the Examine, it's an old Catholic tool, almost pre-Catholic church. It was St. Ignatius who designed it. He was a soldier. So he wasn't your typical priesty, monastery type of guy. He was a man's man. And he was injured severely with a cannonball, both legs. One was shattered. So he was bedridden for 18 months. The only book in the place where he was healing was The Life of Christ.
Okay.
And so he read that because out of sheer boredom, he was an atheist before this, and came to God and had an incredible experience just learning who God was in his everyday life. And he decided he wanted to create tools that would help the common man, particularly soldiers, understand God. And his whole theme is finding God in all things. And so the Examine has a series of questions that I'll teach you. And it's a kind of a daily prayer practice that you can incorporate. And I just love it because it's really simple. It's really basic. But it can totally transform your day in the sense of, God was there, and this is what he's calling me to do. And yet it's not heavy spiritual religious in the sense of this heavy devotional time, at least that I was taught that you're supposed to have in order to be spiritual. These questions are ones that I've shared with the girls, my nieces, and they're teenagers, and not in church a whole lot because of their parents' lives. And they right away said, oh, that's really cool. We can do that. So awesome. I think, if kids can do the Examine, we adults certainly can. And then I want to talk a little bit about suffering and just some of the things I've learned about it and just where you're at, what God's calling you to, because I think suffering is an incredible opportunity for growth. I believe the only way that we grow and mature spiritually is when we suffer. The hard times in our lives are the things that drive us to God. Otherwise, life's easy. We don't need it.
Yeah, exactly. So, we got this covered. Yeah.
And then the last one, at least outlined in the thing I sent you, is Living by Your True Values. And that's a program or a little tool that I created a long time ago, especially for business owners. Of looking at your values and how is your business and your life truly driven by those values. The best example I can give is there's an auto dealership owner on the East Coast. And this guy amazes me. He owns, I think, 5 different dealerships. I think it's in North Carolina. Okay. And he inherited this from his dad. And when he wasn't going to take it on, he wanted to go in the ministry. And then he decided to go ahead and take it on. I can't remember what led him to that decision, but he decided if he was going to be a, quote, car salesman, he was going to have every decision he made driven by his spiritual values. So just picture this, a car salesman who doesn't negotiate price.
Wow.
Puts on the car, on the sticker, exactly what he paid for the car and what the markup is so that they can make a little bit of a profit and pay their employees. And then that's the price. And that's it.
awesome.
There's no negotiating. It's total transparency. Picture a car dealership that not only pays benefits to his employees, like for their health care, but makes sure that they make enough money that their kids can go to college. I mean, this guy, the decisions he makes and the things that drive him are purely, we say we have these values and that these things are important to us, but is every single decision driven that? Do we filter the things that we're doing through what we say, how we say we want to live? And so that's what living by your values is about.
Cool.
Just that was a quick overview of everything. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate yourself when it comes to taking care of your body, your sabbatical lifestyle? Having enough rest, here's the big one that was for me. It isn't just about getting enough sleep, but having time for play.
Yeah.
And what I call recreation, not recreation. Recreation is when the activities that you engage in when you're playing really recharge your batteries. You're not just falling on the couch and watching Netflix. You're doing stuff that really buzz you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The scale of 1 to 10, how are you living a sabbatical lifestyle?
Well, I'd have to say my number is higher now than it was a year ago.
Awesome.
I would say a year ago it was probably like a 1, if 10 was the highest. And I think just as where I've been, the people, Patricia, who's doing the Healing Touch, we connected and just instantly connected with each other. And so we are exchanging with each other. So she has a membership in the directory and she's doing healing sessions with me a couple times a month, which I know is really so valuable. And I think I've done a lot of business coaching and different, college classes and things like that for growing my business. But I think her work has probably been more helpful for me and my business than any business thing that I've been going through, which is totally not where I would have put my money or my time or effort. I feel guilty for doing that, like that's my mindset that, there's things that I should pay for that are worth value, and to pay for something that will be for me to enjoy is not something that I have felt comfortable doing in the past, and probably honestly wouldn't have done other than it was a good thing for both of us. But just, I know in my heart of hearts, I know God is absolutely making this a necessity for me. And then there was another person, a couple group class kind of like this, and then also an individual who was doing some coaching things, and she needed to get so many hours done. So I did a session with her for 8 weeks or something, different things where I feel the reason I'm doing it is to help the person, but honestly, I'm benefiting more than they are benefiting from me being there. So I think God is making it be that this is where you need to do, and this is important, and you can have all the words as to why. I can explain to other people why it's important, but for me to do it myself has been hard in the past for me to do. But I do feel like instead of being a 1, I am now probably, I would say, a 4 or 5, maybe even 6. I take baths. I know that's important for me to just sit and in the water and not do things, and that doesn't cost me any money, so I can do that.
Awesome.
So I'm not feeling guilty when I do things for myself now.
That is really good. That's one of the key ones of people often will say it's time that gets in their way of taking care of themselves, but I'm thinking most of the time it's really more that guilt thing.
Yeah.
Especially with women. I shouldn't be doing this. I should be doing something for somebody else. I should spend the money on somebody else. Yeah, exactly what you described.
Mm-hmm.
And once we can get over that and recognize it's kind of that, the oxygen mask.
Right.
In the airplane, if we take care of ourselves, we're better equipped to take care of the people around us.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
Yeah.
Beliefs. The belief quotient, I don't think you're going to have a whole lot of issues with, but do you think there are some old toxic beliefs that keep you from moving forward in the direction that you feel called to move?
Yeah, in my session with Pat just this Friday, something came up that was a similar question to that. Like my session before, what came up was releasing old beliefs. And it was something she said about yourself. Like, is it better to serve other people, or to not serve yourself, but to have joy in your life? And I think my belief system, what I grew up being trained, is it's way more important to serve other people. Like, you are the last, like, anything with yourself, you should feel guilty. The Catholic faith of many things. And
you can't be a Catholic unless you feel guilt.
Right. Yeah. But go to confession and then you can go do it tomorrow.
Good.
Wow. So I think there are toxic beliefs. I believe for sure. I respect and honor, but I don't think I was always taught and know. I'm wanting to know and listen to what God wants me to know and listen, and not what has been, what society thinks, what the church thinks, what is the proper way to do things is not always the way that God wants you to do things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So where would you put yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 when it comes to beliefs? If 10 meant you have no struggle at all and 1 meant that you're completely incapacitated by belief systems, where would you be?
Well, the personality tests, I did a personality test that was about your gifts.
Mm-hmm.
And like, one of my strongest gift is faith. Like, I will do things that don't make sense to people because my faith is so strong to know that it's gonna happen regardless if it makes no sense on paper, or there's not a way that you can strategically say this is how it's gonna happen. Like, my faith overrides what is normal. So I don't think I'm really excited to know how the soldier does things, because even though I know I love God, I don't know that I connect or communicate in the right ways, or I know I do what I can, but I know there's always searching for better, deeper, more profound ways, and I want to worship Him right. I want to do different things, and I know there's nothing wrong with any way that people do it, but yeah, I am very open to learning through myself and through others too. So
I love what you said about faith a minute ago, because one of the things I talk about in my book is I talk about 7 different beliefs, and it's kind of a pendulum. Every belief is kind of a continuum where you can be way weak in that area or actually go too far. The pendulum can swing too far. And I talk about, gosh, my mind just went blank. The purpose continuum. And purpose on steroids is faith. And the closer you get to a really strong faith, the better off you are. A lack of purpose, and that's where I blanked out. I can't think of what the other end of the pendulum is. is it despair or hopelessness? I think it's hopelessness. And, you know, you can be anywhere on that continuum. But the other thing is when you're really strong, it isn't just your sense of purpose that gets strengthened, but the other beliefs are strengthened as well. It kind of offsets. When you have a really strong faith, you know, your beliefs around initiative or around abundance or around whether you're a victim or a dependent, all of these different belief systems, one single strong belief that works for you can offset the others. So that's probably what's happening with you, is that really strong faith gives you an edge and helps you overcome some of those other toxic beliefs that haven't been resolved yet.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense?
Yeah, yeah.
How would you rate yourself?
On a scale of 1 to 10?
Yeah.
Probably an 8.
Okay. Excellent. How about understanding your own personality and being able to leverage your strengths and overcome your weaknesses and understand other people's personalities? How would you rate yourself on that?
Probably a 7.
Okay. And when it comes to things like mindfulness and meditation and using those kinds of tools to create objectivity and accepting what is and peace of mind, those kinds of strategies, where would you rate yourself on that?
Again, I think it's something I know is important. It's something I'm trying to practice and do. I'll go on YouTube and I'll search for meditation and find something and, you know, listen or fall asleep during it. So I want to do it, but I don't know if I'm doing it right. You know?
Yeah, that's always a question.
So probably a 5.
Okay. Cool. And when it comes to having clarity about the direction you're going and really knowing the desires of your heart and using those to make decisions, how strong would you say you're there on scale of 1 to 10?
I would say like an 8 or a 9.
I think so too. I think that's a real strength for you. When it comes to connecting with God, like you were talking just a minute ago, and seeing God at work in all things and recognizing how God is leading you and what things he wants you to be working on, where would you rate yourself there?
Probably a 7 or 8. I think, you know, often when you're explaining things to somebody else or you're listening to somebody else, it's, you know, you're should be listening to what you're saying because it's the message that you need to hear yourself because you're not doing it yourself. So it's like I can, yeah, I think it's there, but it's not always doing it as well as I should be.
How about with suffering? How well have you been able to leverage suffering and have it push you toward growth rather than cause you to despair? Scale of 1 to 10. I know that's hard because it's up and down every day, but overall, how would you rate yourself?
I would say just because of what I've learned through Pat in the last several months and knowing myself through other people that are sharing, I'd probably say a 3 or a 4 because I think I just stuff it. I'm like, either, you know, I can think through and say, this is why this is happening. I know it. I truly have a knowing about it, but yet I don't let it sink in and I don't, you know, things are going to pop up later in my body because I haven't been able to process it through my body. I just said, okay, well, let's put that label on it and that's what's happening. So don't deal with it. Just stuff it away because you don't need to deal with it because you already know what it is. But I know that I still need to deal with it and I still need to feel it and I still need to to go through the process, the suffering, and yeah, I mean, I can talk through the suffering that's happened to always have an excuse or a reason or a look at the silver lining of why this is happening, that I just don't even get to the point where the suffering is at. I just kind of gloss over it.
I think, there's I don't know what word to call it, but this mindset in our country, in our culture, that suffering is something to be avoided.
Right.
And something that's certainly not anything to talk about.
Right.
You don't want to appear weak to anybody, right? So we stuff it, we hide it, we ignore it, we push it off into a corner. And I loved what you said of that you struggle with processing it. Mm-hmm. And that processing of suffering, to be able to just sit with your suffering. The book of Job, we have a whole book of the Bible devoted to the subject of suffering. I think that's really impressive. And suffering sprinkled all through, in other books as well. But we have Job's example where he literally sits with his suffering and struggles with it and argues with God and survives. And argues with his friends, and we see his friends give him really bad advice about his suffering. And I think that's such an amazing example of how God wants us to wrestle with our griefs, whatever kind of grief it is. I mean, even financial tension or family struggles. It can be a minor daily struggle, but it's those minor daily struggles that drip, drip, drip and wear us down.
Right. Or
the big ones, whether it's physical pain or a loss of a loved one, or we have the big events. So we kind of know those are ones that we need to sit with. But the day in, day out struggles that we live with, to really make time to sit and go, Lord, why have you allowed this? And the why question is always tricky because we usually don't get an answer to that one. Right. But the second question is, what do you want me to do with this? Mm-hmm. And how am I supposed to respond? And then I have a friend who told me to replace why with the question of, where are you? Where are you, God? And where are you in this? And that's been an amazing question to sit with. Okay, example, you guys dealing with some financial stress right now. Where are you? And you've already come up with part of it. Your family is learning things where kids are going to be better because of your financial stress. They're learning lessons that are going to help them in their lifetime and their relationship with money in the future. And the way that you and your husband choose to handle stress over finances, at least, lack. Mm-hmm. Your kids are going to look at that and see that you can have fun and joy and have a prosperous life, even if you're not, quote, financially prosperous. It's a huge lesson. So you've already kind of sat with it and come up with, okay, Lord, this is something that we're benefiting from it. And it makes suffering so much easier. Mm-hmm. When we have the joy with the pain. There's a Chinese parable, or proverb rather, that you don't ever give pain without giving pleasure. So when they punish a child, they also give them candy. Seems really weird to give a kid a spanking and give him a piece of chocolate, but the idea is to always deliver them at the same time, because that's how God deals with us. Mm-hmm. When he gives us pain, he always gives us benefit too.
Okay.
So, those are cool things that you're learning. Mm-hmm. Very cool. Last question, values. How would you rate yourself on the decisions you make, not just in your business, but even in your day-to-day life, that they're value-centered, that they really go to, that you're consciously and intentionally making decisions based on your personal core values?
Mm-hmm. Thinking a 6 is the number coming to me. I think there's some of those bigger things in life that it's like, no, I have stood by my values, and that's more important than the job or than the approval of a leader of a church or of whatever. But of course, there's always the daily things of how well do I treat my kids versus how do I yell at them, and so certainly can align better with my true values, but I I think it is something that others would see me and say that, you know, you are very strong in your values. And in,
Yeah, I would
think
say
many
so
ways
too.
I am.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You gave me a great example when you talked about the decision of staying home with your daughter and doing church at home.
Mhm.
That was living by your values. You have a value of giving true worship to your kid rather than just dragging her to a, quote, worship service where she might not have gotten anything out of it.
Mhm.
And instead you showed her how to worship in everyday experiences like preparing food, which, what a powerful lesson. That was one Sunday, but it's an experience that she's going to remember for a long time. It's going to have an impact. And the more that you do those kind of things, the more you're, you know, imparting your value system on your kids. It's brilliant. Yeah. Nice. Awesome. Do you have any questions for me about the program and where we're going? And I don't know, any of the rest of it?
I am super excited about it all. I think that you have what has come to you and what you've put together and the experiences you've gone through in life. I think this is an amazing program that you're putting together and will be very, very powerful for people that are blessed to be able to go through it. And I am honored beyond belief to get to be one of the first.
Thank you so much for doing this. It's really going to be helpful for me just to work out the kinks. Just now I was thinking, gosh, I should put this survey, you know, actually in writing and do pre and post. That's what I love to do, is have ratings before and after so people can see their growth, that kind of thing. So yeah, this kind of thing really helps me think ahead to what's going to help and make it flow better. So thank you for doing this. And I'm so excited about just working with you. The first time I met you, I think it was it at Val's,
I think
what she used to call
the She Believes, or Women Empower
that's
Women.
What it is now.
Women Empower Women. Yeah.
Yeah, and there was something about you. I thought, I need to know this lady.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But again, God's timing is like, now is when we need to connect. Like I agree instantly. I'm like, just there was this glow about you, and I know the story that you shared at your presentation has helped me many times with your I think $2 or $4 that were sitting on your dash of your car. And many things. Just I really honor and respect you, and very glad. And I would also say I was talking to someone, telling her about my transition, and we're gonna stop building her membership page and start doing stuff through Tech Angels, and I asked if she would be my guinea pig for that, and she came, yes, everything was awesome. And then she texted me later and said, I have decided not to be your guinea pig. I want to be your first masterpiece. So I'm switching that. Yes, okay, I'm no longer no longer your guinea pig. I am one of your first masterpieces.
Oh, I love that, and I love the word masterpiece. Yeah, to me it elicits how God is involved in creation. Very cool. Thank you for sharing that with me.
Yeah,
that's really good.
Yeah.
Well, you got the link to schedule a session, and if you want to make it like a regular time,
I was going to say that would probably be my only question, is just the logistics of things, and I also want, originally when we were talking, pray about this. How are we going to exchange? And I was thinking membership, but now that my membership is kind of going away, there is a somewhere between $100 and $200 a month. I'm going to be doing a promo videos. And so what a promo video is, we would have a conversation, a phone call, most likely, and record that conversation. And you just tell me all sorts of things about what you're doing. And I ask you about programs and services and products and whatever, you want to promote. And it's more of a conversation that we have, rather than here's my script and here's my sales pitch and here's my, the part that people just like, I don't really care anyway. So it's more of this conversation at heart, and then we take that and splice that and edit that into several different like 30-second to 3-minute videos with your picture and images that kind of bring it in and your logo. So it's your voice layered on top of pictures, and then we turn that into a YouTube video, and we will share that for you on your social media.
Nice.
Like once a week, we'll post out a promo video for you, either a
Very cool.
image or promo. So
oh, that'd be great.
if you would be
I
okay
think
with
that would
that.
be fabulous.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I think I'm going to need some of your tech angel help as well, so we can talk about that and figure out how
absolutely.
that's going to work. Yeah, I even just as I was looking at this manual, I want someone who can format it and make it pretty once it's ready to go into an actual manual format. Kind of follow Isabel, this woman I'm working with, had a manual for our program, and I'm kind of following just the template that she used, and yeah, I've got some ideas about what I want it to be and look like, but I'm going to need help with actually making it work. But yeah, we can talk about that later.
Absolutely.
I think, yeah, already you've given me some great ideas, like just this website as an alternative to Zoom. Zoom has been great, but one time it failed me, and it was like, okay, I need an alternative. I have I was coaching some spiritual directors, and there was a woman in Scotland. So calling me was not an option. Most of my clients, we can pick up the phone if the internet isn't working well. But I didn't have another option for hers. I'm using Duke's laptop right now until I can get my PC put back together. And I didn't have Skype on this laptop, so that didn't work.
And if they don't have a Skype account, then that doesn't work. And
she was fine with Skype, but I have an account, but it would have taken me, how long to download Skype, and so it just messed up her session, and so it was a lost opportunity, which I felt bad about for her. Yeah, those kinds of things where there are tech options, if not better solutions. You already talked to me about editing software, that kind of thing. So yeah, we can talk more. You're going to be an asset to me. I know. I'm looking forward to having a resource like you, because it's been a while since I've had one.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, perfect. Then I'm putting things together, so it'll probably be, after Thanksgiving and kind of into December, but I'll plan on, if you're okay with that, giving you the services of the promo videos or the social media posting. And then just what is the format of I have a time, and how often do we meet, or do I need to get my homework done beforehand, or?
Yeah, I sent you the next session already.
Okay.
There's some exercises there to kind of get your thinking going in the vein of what we're going to be talking about.
Okay.
And that's how it'll work, is I'll send you the next session, early in the week, and then if you can work on through those exercises, it won't be a lot of homework. It's mostly stuff to think about. There's one in a couple of weeks that it's looking at your time for the sabbatical lifestyle stuff, of how you spend your time, just so you know what time resources you have to work with for adding practices that you want to add. But that's probably the most intensive homework that I've put together so far. There won't be a lot of writing down stuff. But trying new practices and thinking about things in a new way is really the main homework. Weekly calls, unless, there's something that gets in the way, a holiday or a vacation. Now, most of the time when I leave town, I still have, internet access and could probably jump on a call with you, but there'll be weeks from time to time where we will have to skip. This is a long program. I hope you know what you're in for. Right now, it's 36 weeks.
Okay. That's good.
We're having a baby. Originally, it was going to be about half this long, but the more I work on it, I really think it needs to be a 9-month program. And so I hope you're okay.
I agree. No, I think that's excellent. If you really want the deep work, it's going to be deep work. You can't. You can't do deep work without putting time into it. Right. Yeah. So this will take us through August, if you're okay with that, unless we have to skip more weeks than I think we will. But yeah, in January I'm gone a lot, but
I've got 3 trips booked in January right now.
Okay.
But I know that we'll figure it out. We'll work around so you won't miss too many sessions. But we might have to miss a session or so
sure.
in January.
Yeah.
I have a conference, and between Christmas and New Year's, Duke and I always go away with his company.
Cool.
And then we're going to Sedona to see his folks in January this year. Usually that trip's in February. So everything got pushed into January this year. I don't know how that happened. But anyway, we'll work around it.
Yes.
So
yeah. Weekly is the intention. Is there typically a day of the week? Like I kind of see if we say this is our general thing, but then every week I could, confirm that, yep, that's going to be the good one for next week, or we're going to have to switch it around a bit.
No, to have a consistent day is fine with me. That works out great. Is this a good day for you usually?
I tried to come up with a good, consistent schedule for me, what is today? Tuesday?
Today's Tuesday the 20th.
Tuesday or Fridays. Well, really either. Like I want my self-care to be on Fridays, and I see, or my self-development and things that way. But I know Fridays is usually kind of a hard day to get things, if that's for you.
For me, Tuesday would be the better
best
day.
Okay.
Just because, there's a lot of days that I'm either going out of town or something on a Friday.
Does the noontime work okay?
Noontime is good, if that works better for you.
Yep.
Okay, I have to find where we are. There we are. I took us off of the video for a minute. I looked at my calendar, and Tuesdays are good. So you want to keep it at Tuesday at noon?
Yeah.
Okay, so next week, the 27th. Noon. And the calls will be about an hour each, if that will work for you. Today we went over a little bit. I apologize.
Oh, no need to apologize.
This session, the overview stuff, we always go a little bit longer than. And I'm saving this
I'll
link.
probably, just so that you know, I will, I'll schedule 2 hours. I'll plan that we'll talk for an hour, but I'll block it out for 2 hours. And if there's things, I'm working through, then I can just really sit and try to work through that.
That's a smart idea. Give you time to process and time to do your homework right away. And I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
I always liked to have at least a half hour after my coaching sessions with my mentor. Okay. I'm going to block this off every week on an ongoing basis on my calendar. There.
Yep.
Got it done. Okay.
Awesome.
Angie, this has been great.
Yeah.
Really have enjoyed talking to you.
And do you want to use this one, or do you want to use your Zoom one? Or
let's go ahead and use this. This is working fine. Learning, new stuff is always good.
Sounds good. All right.
The controls look a lot like Zoom, actually. So
really
easy.
Really simple, easy. So we'll just appear.in/be well, God bless, and just come on here at noon, and I'll be here, or you'll be here. We'll see each other as soon as we get here.
All right. My video keeps freezing, and I don't know. My husband might be doing something that, has me frozen. But
it could be.
It'll work.
It'll work, yeah. Sounds good. All right. Well, have a very, very happy Thanksgiving at your place.
Oh, you too. Safe travels.
All right.
Yeah, and I'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.